Kia ora whanau, it is Lauren here from Chasing Your Shape Ball. Japanese supermarkets, I think they're probably one of the weirdest things you can come across, but probably one of the greatest things you can come across. Check it out now. So anyway guys, just decided to talk about Japanese supermarkets. On my travels around Japan, I just decided that using a supermarket would be probably the most beneficial way to not only just save money, but also to find things that I would be able to eat being vegan. All of these shots that I'm about to actually show you are actually from a place in Hiroshima called Yours. And this is just a sort of example of a smaller size supermarket that I'm going to be showing you. I went to another one in Fukuoka, which was a lot larger, and I've also went to another one in Tokyo as well, which was a lot larger, and then I went to another one in Kobe, which was a lot smaller, so you guys can get a fair idea. But the whole idea and how they lay it out is pretty much the same. If you've been to any Asian supermarket, you know all the different sights, the different smells, and obviously the different sounds as well. And for me to actually be in a regular supermarket in Japan was a lot different from me to actually being in one here in Australia or New Zealand, where pretty much from first off the bat, the two biggest things that you will come across in a Western supermarket is basically the bread and produce section of basically together. In Japan, it's slightly different. Produce section is pretty much the same, but it is basically ready to eat meals right at the front. So as you guys can see, there's all ready to eat meals, a lot of fried food, and obviously a lot of pretty unhealthy stuff, but a lot of non-vegan stuff as well. So I pretty much avoided this area, but in saying that, it's obviously something you need to be careful about. On the other side, with all these ready-to-eat meals, we also had things like your bento boxes, basically side dish vegetables, and a lot of other kind of ferments and things like that that came in with the ready-to-eat thing. You had also your salads there as well, so they're all in the ready-to-eat section. So you'll see that. And then when you get into the produce section, you'll see it's a lot more, it's very fresh and very inviting to go into there. But be careful, fruit in Japan can be notoriously expensive. So I don't eat a lot of fruit, so I kind of cleared off that area. You'll just find that everything's fresh and inviting. You will find things that are very normal to you back home, and then you'll find all these weird things like lotus root, burdock root, fernbreak, things that are kind of unusual in a sense. One thing that I really did actually quite enjoy was that they had nabe kind of vegetables where you could actually, if you wanted like a soup or anything like that, they basically had all the vegetables in a bag, you put it into a container, and then you put your protein in there, and then you add some water and maybe a little bit of stock, and you would just boil it up. Or if you're coming to saving money and being on a real tight budget, I would basically have food for days because I made up a large batch, which was really, really good. The other thing that you will find that in Japan, they love to eat seafood a lot, and seafood is probably one of the biggest staples that you will find in Japan. And as you guys can kind of see here where I've put that, you will see the whole fish will be sold. And it can be kind of a bit daunting if you are vegan for ethical reasons. It can be quite daunting to see a dead fish there. The other thing is obviously ramen noodles. Ramen noodles are everywhere in Japan. They're a cheap source of food. Some of them are really, really good. Some of them can be horribly bad, but definitely make sure to check out which ones are what. Obviously, if you are vegetarian or vegan, just be aware. I would definitely get Google Translate for helping you with any language barrier issues that you might have or any concerns. The other thing is that they're really huge on in Japan is bread. Bakery items like your pastries, your bread rolls, even they like to eat crustless sandwiches that have interesting fillings in them. So cream, corn and cheese is quite huge. Tuna and mayo is very common. There's also croquette ones, there's mac and cheese. There's some weird ones that are really actually quite out there. Bakery items in Japan are not vegan, so they usually contain milk or egg depending on what what it is, so just be aware of this. The other thing I would be aware is if you're visiting and you love to have toast in the morning, or you love to have a sandwich, be aware that bread in Japan is extremely sweet. It's not like bread in Western cultures. You wouldn't be able to make a toasted sandwich out of it. You wouldn't be able to make a grilled cheese sandwich out of it because it's very sweet. It's more for like dessert kind of thing. It's very, very sweet. So the other thing is what I was talking about before was things like salads and things like that. The potato salad is mean. Obviously it's not vegan, so I wouldn't recommend it to vegetarians, but things like potato salads. But the other thing is I really enjoy eating is things like the lotus root salad, and it usually has lotus root, seaweed, julienne carrots and things like that in it, which are then marinated, and I usually eat those. They're really, really great to actually be consuming. The other thing that I did want to also mention about was alcohol. In Japan, it might not be the same in your country. Now, alcohol is sold in supermarkets in Japan, and it is very, very cheap. You will be able to find a large can of beer for no more than 200 yen. So definitely have a look around if you guys want to actually have a few drinks and enjoy yourself. So yeah. The thing that would kind of blew me away about Japanese supermarkets was all these different noises, and they had songs going for advertising and interactive things going. So they had like iPads which all showed ads and things like that. So it was very interactive, some of the ones I went to, and it was quite, it was quite full on compared to coming from Australia or New Zealand, where it's not so much like that. There was also a lot of people out there serving free samples, which is typical in some supermarkets around the world, but when they're sort of offering weird things, it's an opportunity to try it to some extent. But yeah, it's definitely something that's a bit sometimes, so it can be it's a bit full on, but I think one thing you do need to experience is a Japanese supermarket. But in saying that, it's a great thing when you're saving money, so yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I would say that if you guys are wanting to come to Japan and you need to save money, convenience stores are really good, for an example, but I reckon that the supermarkets are a lot cheaper. So anyway, guys, I hope that gives you some sort of idea of how a Japanese supermarket works. It is it's different, but I love how it actually works out, and it is a cheaper option for you as well if you are traveling on a budget. Alright guys, have a great day. Ka kite. Bye.